WWBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
I can't believe I'm putting my voice to this.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Thank you for your irrelevant opinion.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
The first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say. I'm a broadcast journalist. I have a right to my opinion.
Oh, son of a...
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even at commentary.
There's the sound of the bell, and we are off. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon here with you alongside Lucas the Intern.
How you guys doing? Sorry.
You going to sandbag me there?
No, I'm trying to adjust.
No selling me? Oh, the old headphones.
I'm adjusting the volume on my mic. The other headphones didn't work, and now I understand why. They were the wrong headphones.
Yeah.
That's a
technical difficulties, to say the least.
If there was any moment to Picard, it would be that moment.
Yes, the facepalm. And then, of course, Nick Cataldi.
Yay.
Back in studio, turning the buttons and pushing the dials and doing all the things that... Yes, I realize that's backwards. Yes, turning the dials and pushing the buttons, keeping us on the air, doing what he does, graciously back in the board seat after having a nice Saturday off from having to deal with us clowns last week. Nothing to add to that?
No, that was a fun episode. That really was, especially with Stefan doing the the introductions. I liked it. I'm looking forward to them. We're gonna seeing them all at the Monster Factory tonight. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, in case you missed it last week, it was a packed house to say the least. But former co-host Richie Bleiweiss was in the house, as well as the golden voice of professional wrestling, Stefan Benson. And after me being the lazy bum that I am, I finally got that and the previous week's episodes uploaded to YouTube in case you missed them. So go to youtube.com. I believe it's /Pro Wrestling Weekly, and you can go ahead and listen to those at this point. Well, one thing that I definitely want to get to as time is of the essence, in case you haven't done it already, courtesy of your friends over at George's Cards and Collectibles. You know, they bring great wrestling talent right to your neighborhood right now, in fact, until 1 o'clock. So you have just the duration of our show here to get over to the Neshaminy Mall, where the Funkasaurus, Brodus Clay, will be at George's in the Neshaminy Mall, right over by the movie theater, the big old AMC 24 movie theater. So make sure to check that out. The recently released from WWE Funkasaurus, Brodus Clay, in the house. And also, in a little over a month from now.
Wait, hold on. Somebody call my mama. I need a ride to the mall. Oh, come on. That was good.
Well, yeah, because you aren't able to drive yet.
Yeah.
Give it time.
16, I haven't even gotten my permit yet. I need to get my priorities straight. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, there are a lot of things I need to get straight. Also, yo, pop a 40 and check your rollies. As Crime Time, JTG and Shad Gaspard.
Your rollies.
It was the opening to the... believe me, I'm not condoning. In fact...
What exact... okay.
I don't... Yeah, I think I know where they're going with that, and I think once I had a 40 and couldn't stand it.
No, I mean...
That's just too much... I'll tell you during the commercial break.
Oh, yeah, I think I know what a rollie is. You know, just...
There we go. Yeah, your gestures are perfectly accurate, and we are just going to leave it at that, lest I get into more trouble around here. That seems to be the norm. Where was I going with this? Crime Time. Yes, they're going to be at George's in the Neshaminy Mall. Well, no, that's a perfectly legitimate question, but I know we have some...
As I interrupted you, was the joke.
Yes.
Go ahead. About the...
Yes, important business, yes. Crime Time, JTG and Shad Gaspard. They'll be at George's in the Neshaminy Mall Saturday, August 23rd. That's the Saturday after SummerSlam from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. And, of course, you can check out George's 3 locations for all of your sports and wrestling memorabilia needs. Their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Levittown. Then, of course, in the Oxford Valley Mall in the Sears Court on the lower level. as well as the aforementioned newest location in the Neshaminy Mall in the movie theater wing. For more info on the upcoming Crime Time appearance, you can give George's a call at 215-943-2475 or visit them on the web at georgescollectibles.com. I'm sure they've got more fun stuff in store. Nothing that they've announced yet, but I mean, just the names that they've had this year alone have been fantastic.
It's been a jam-packed year. Speaking of George's, I believe we're coming up on the year anniversary of me being at the show, I think.
A couple of weeks away, yeah. The beginning of August is when you made your debut here as an intern, and I don't know. I've said in interviews...
Rising intern in WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly history. My bad.
Yeah, that's probably because you just finished watching a match involving Paige and AJ. That's why you're the fastest rising. Oh, dear. I am horrible.
Somewhere John Yomtov is just losing his mind. I just did the...
Actually, I've got something that'll appeal to you and John a little bit later regarding the birthdays in the third segment.
Is it,
well, I'm not going to give it away now.
Okay.
That's why it's on my note sheet and not yours, because I love having surprises like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely surprise the intern.
It's always fun.
Oh, it's fun for... most of the time, it's fun for you.
And usually you enjoy it, too.
Surprising me with the bow leave drops, and I'll just be like, during the commercial break.
Yeah, you're ready to throw down.
I'm about to lay it the smackdown.
Well, that's also the fun of me being on the boards, like last week where I pulled your, I had to have been from, September, October, that is not fair.
Yeah, and now it's just going to be like, that is not fair. No, this is Patrick.
I don't think you've gotten to the point of Patrick yet.
Not a crusty crab.
Little more bass in your voice, son. All right, we've got some news and notes to get into. We've got Battleground tomorrow, and we've got our predictions certain to go wrong. And for once, we don't agree on... Actually, we're there are a few matches that we differ on.
Just one. No, I think there's two.
Okay, maybe two, but that's still more than the last couple of months combined. So that alone is rather interesting. So that's good. Leads to some debating and whatnot. Now, let me get right into from last week. Sting, the big tweet that he issued out, 7/14/14. Well, he did appear on Raw during a commercial. It was announced during Raw that Sting will be available as a character in the WWE 2K15 video game for those who pre-order the game.
Yeah, 2 generations of Sting, meaning early WCW and then Nitro WCW.
You're mostly correct.
Well, it's like
I know. Well, I mean, this is also the majority of Sting's career was before you were born. So
no, but I know it was the blonde-haired Sting.
Yeah, the blonde surfer Sting from 87, really until about 96.
Yeah, but he was like that. I remember because I was watching the history of WCW Monday Nitro Volume 2, which you got me from WWEshot.com. Going by today. Shameless plug. But it was the debut.
I've taught him so well.
the debut of Monday Nitro was the first episode, and I believe it was when Lex Luger walked out during the Sting Ric Flair match, and he still had the blonde hair. It was 94, 92, 94. I'm trying to think.
The first episode of Monday Nitro was September 4th, 1995.
95. Okay.
From the Mall of America in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
95. So it was early it was yeah, okay, whatever. I'm going to shut up now.
Anyway, yeah, where you're going with this, yes. Sting debuted the, Crow character Sting. In 97 is when he started to disappear and start appearing up in the rafters. And it was a build that went a year. So really the end of 96.
Oh, I thought it was great what they did with the whole, especially the fact, just paying a bit of a homage to Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's also late son, which... I find that weird that both Bruce Lee and his son both died. They had a posthumous movie that was their big thing. Bruce Lee's was Enter the Dragon, Brandon Lee's was The Crow.
Well, here's a did you know. Do you know who came up with the idea of using the Crow gimmick for Sting?
No. Who?
Scott Hall.
Really?
Scott Hall is a huge movie buff, and he also...
I would love to have a conversation with Scott Hall then. That's the thing, because I'm a huge movie buff, but Carlito over here can't even see the difference between Family Guy and Adam's Family Values.
Now, that's not cool.
Yeah, that's not cool. My bad.
I see where you were attempting to go with that, but yes, if you had said, I don't know, the difference between Rocky and Bull Durham, at least you're in the same genre.
Yeah.
And the joke would... See? The joke got Nick Cataldi laughing. See?
I got to work...
I don't like the way you put that.
I'm just bad at jokes. I'm almost as bad as Vince McMahon.
It was your delivery.
Yeah.
Not only your delivery, but you made a good point.
Yeah.
Front.
Oh, well, thank you. I try. And usually, I actually got a little bit of sleep this morning, so that usually goes a long way into the quality and delivery of the show. It's all just, it's directly related to how much sleep I get. If I'm running on no sleep, you can expect a train wreck. If I get a couple of hours, it might actually be a decent show, just slightly above a train wreck. We're somewhere in that slightly above train wreck category. But there's still 44 minutes of show to go to bring that down.
So, how about, just to save some time, why don't we just go over Impact? What's going on TNA? Let me take care of this.
Oh, you got this one?
Yeah, I want to handle the TNA news because I'm just gonna have a big fun, little rant about it. So,
you're gonna rant. This should be interesting.
Not rant, but Rhino and EC3 defeated Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray.
Well, the big thing with this,
I actually care about.
I was gonna say the big thing with this was the first of the series of tapings that were done in New York City, and this featured the return of the six-sided ring. And
well, what about I was asking you this. So the one where the Hardy Boys reunite, that hasn't aired yet.
That has not aired yet. That I want to say is, if not this Thursday, the following Thursday, either the 24th or 31st.
Because I want to know. Because I actually want to see. Now that Jeff Hardy's back, I might actually start watching a bit of TNA.
Well, Jeff Hardy returned. I mean, he returned in singles action as opposed to the Willow nonsense this past Thursday on Impact.
So I can just turn it on. Okay, that's good.
Yes.
But
so if you don't want to know what happened, then don't look at the notes.
Well, no, I saw what happened.
Oh, okay.
But it's the fact that Rhino and EC3 defeated Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray. One of those names I actually care about, which is Tommy Dreamer, the innovator of violence.
Not a fan of Bully Ray?
I mean, I like Bully Ray, but I'm more of a Bubba Ray kind of fan. Well, I like Bully Ray, but it's the fact that I don't want to sound like I do like Bully Ray. It's just people are going to be like, oh, you watch TNA. I'm just like, shut up. It's good. It's all right.
Then that's where you come back and you say, well, I have to cover it for Pro Wrestling Weekly because I'm a budding broadcast journalist in training.
And for the longest running you take it. I can't do it. No, not yet. Not yet.
No, not yet? Oh.
Let me finish the thing first. This is getting way out of hand too fast.
Yeah, for a quick and easy segment on TNA, this is going...
Austin Aries defeated Eddie Edwards, Davey Richards, DJ Zima, Tigre Uno, Crazy Steve, Sonata, and Manic in an 8-man gauntlet match in 16 minutes and 43 seconds to retain the X Division title.
Now, did you see this gauntlet match? They're calling it a gauntlet match because the concept of it, they can't use the trademarked or copyrighted term Royal Rumble, but that's pretty much what it was. Yeah. Actually, I think what they did was similar to
a Countdown Battle Royal. That's what.
Well, actually, what they did was very similar to the first ever event I saw at the Monster Factory, Turkey Slam, where they did a similar thing. It was just like a Royal Rumble. Every minute and a half, 2 minutes, somebody came in.
PG-13 at Newman Rising when we went and saw that.
Yes, I think it was like that also. And then the last two people who remained had a regular match, and whoever won by pinfall or submission won the whole thing.
Yeah.
And in this case, Austin Aries lasted through the other 7 guys and retained the X Division title. But I mean, it was interesting. They found a way to take I've
always liked TNA's X Division. That's where you really see it, because I always like the technical and the high flyers. Like Evan Bourne. I think he would have done fairly well if he ever went to TNA. He'd do very well in the X Division. I feel like if he didn't keep lighting up and breaking his ankle.
To Two separate issues.
Yeah. But, like, I do like Austin, like, the style of wrestling. Manic, the one thing I have to say about Manic is they should have just kept it to Homicide. Like, that was his name, right? Was it, like, Suicide or Homicide? What was it? What was he formerly? Manic. What was he formerly known as?
He was known as Suicide.
Suicide, yeah. I don't understand.
Yeah, Homicide was one half of the of Mexican America, along with Hernandez.
Oh yeah, like I don't understand. Huh? You know what they should have done? They should have put Suicide and Homicide together and put them up as the third degrees, or something like that. That would be cool.
And what, have Sabu as their manager since he was suicidal, homicidal, and genocidal? Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, that was.
This just isn't going well.
I need to work on my presentation.
Among other things.
Madison Rayne defeated Brittany in a 6-minute and 14 no DQ match.
No count out, no DQ. Yeah, we must have a winner. Even though they've never faced each other before, we must have a winner. I don't know what they were thinking with that.
Really, it's like, I don't, like, I guess I'm going to bring up another conversation starter.
Here comes your rant. Go for it.
It's not a rant. It's like, why do they have knockout tag team titles? Or did they stop those, or?
I believe they have, I don't know. Well, if they haven't retired it, then I think it's still held by, well, no, because it was ODB and Eric Young was in the title picture. So I don't think
he was a knockout title holder. Of course he was.
It was Eric Young, and it was TNA Comedy.
He's like the Kyle Kinane of wrestling. That's what I thought of him as. And if you're a comedy buff, then you'd get that. He just has that sort of mentality.
Here we go. It was retired actually just over a year ago, June 27th of last year. The Knockouts tag titles were retired.
It's like,
and your longest reigning champions were indeed Eric Young and ODB, holding the titles for over a year, 478 days. Probably because they stopped paying attention to it and it was just like, oh yeah, they're still the champs. Kind of like what they did with the TV title and
or United States title with Dean Ambrose. He was
a little bit, yeah. He quietly made his way to the third longest reigning U.S. champ in WWE, WCW history.
Yeah, and it's like, but I think the one thing that can bring a business down is having too many titles. It's because there's going to be too many storylines to bring up. You have to have, like, I don't know, one world title, you can have, like, two minor titles, or maybe, like, two major titles, meaning the WWE and I don't know, you can have up to, like...
So how many titles is too many?
I feel like if you have, like, the U.S. and the TV, and then you have, like, the Legends and the Knockout, like, too many titles for one division. Like, there weren't a lot of knockouts, I don't think, to have, like, one in a tag team title chase and then have one in, like, a world title chase.
I'm with you, especially on the U.S. and TV title, because that always confused me as a Ute in the 90s looking at WCW. Because they had your world champion, then you had your U.S. title, your TV title.
The light heavyweight, the European, like the...
Well, they didn't bring in that. Yeah, they did have the cruiserweight, and they brought that in 95 like, when they had the influx of cruiserweight talent from Mexico and Japan.
Even with WWE, though, you had, like, the light heavyweight, the cruiserweight, the TV... Not the TV title, but, like, the European title. And then you also had to have the Intercontinental title. You had four like, minor league titles, I guess you could say.
Well, you're kind of crossing timelines a bit. The light heavyweight title was kind of used to, I guess, compete with WCW and its cruiserweight title in, like I said, 97, 98, something like that. And they briefly had both they had an insane amount of titles when they bought WCW in 2001 because they brought all these champions over, and that's where you had the WWE at the time F champion, you had the World or WCW champion, you had the Intercontinental, you had the US, you had the European, you had the Hardcore, you had the WCW tag titles, the WWF tag titles, you had the Hardcore title. Yeah, there were at that point there were too many, and that's why they needed to. Did I mention European in there somewhere?
Yeah, I think you said European.
Yeah, I don't know. There were so many, it was hard to keep track, so that's why they started merging, and by 2002, 2003, they cut a lot of them out.
You know, I think I just made a point. You can have a good conversation about TNA without having to bring a negative input in.
So let's not talk about Dixie Carter then.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, no, to heck.
She almost got put through a table, and Devon showed up, and...
Just let her get put through the table, please.
Well, they're trying to build to that moment. That's one of the... although, I think at this point she's getting booed for... I hate to say X-Pac heat, but that's, it's the go-away heat.
X-Pac heat.
In other words, it's not so much booing you because, you're a bad guy and you're supposed to be
Just
booed and we don't like you. It's we're booing you because we want you to go away and never come back.
So they didn't like... Was it because they didn't like the 1-2-3 kid, or they didn't like X-Pac?
I don't know what... that's a good question. Maybe because I was an X-Pac fan, I didn't see it, but... I don't know where exactly the term X-Pac heat came from. Maybe I'll have to look that up in a long overdue break that is coming here.
X-Pac, I think, than he is the 1-2-3 kid.
Well, yeah, he was the 1-2-3 kid from 93 to 96, and then he was
6, and then
he was 6, and then X-Pac, and then on the Indies he was 6-Pac. I know it's kind of like
changed names. Like I can't believe.
It's kind of like the Stooges, where you had Curly, you had Joe, and then you had Curly Joe.
Yeah, but they were different people.
But they were different people. This is true. I know they were. I'm up on my Stoogeology.
We had a conversation about this. I think it was last.
Yeah, I don't know where these things come up. I don't know. I feel like the Mo of this operation.
Yeah. Spread
out. All right, let's spread out to a break. Why don't we take care of that? We still have our predictions certain to go wrong. We have a litany of news, including CM Punk. It's finally happened. He's been moved off of the active WWE roster. We'll talk a little bit about that. A WWE stock update, and it's actually a pretty good one. We've got Monster Factory to talk. The Rock wanting another match. All that and a bunch more. Plus, we've got time for Facebook feedback and your calls as well. 215-949-3232. Toll free at 888-922-2149. You can also check out the Facebook fan page, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Get in on the conversation there, even if it's silly Anchorman quotes, as has been noted by one Lucas the Intern and John from Northeast Philly.
That was funny.
It was.
Oh, no, it's Nick Cataldi and the Channel 2 news team. It was an Anchorman. It was an Anchorman joke. It wasn't just.
We'll have to go over that during the break.
Me, an Anchorman?
It was like a Wes like when Vince Vaughn was Wes Mantooth. Yeah, did you ever see Anchorman?
No, I can't say that I have.
It's actually a very funny movie.
Check it out. On your word, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's Will Ferrell, Steve Carell, Paul Rudd, David Koechner. Vince Vaughn.
Kind of parodying the 70s news teams of back in the day. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Exactly. Just Will Ferrell in that thick 70s mustache alone.
Right. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I just haven't seen it.
Haven't seen the movie. Yeah, it's actually not bad. Plus Christina Applegate. She's still looking very good.
Kelly Bundy.
Yeah, I know. I still remember her as Kelly Bundy, but
she got a little too stupid on that show. I get a little annoying after a while.
They went over the top with it in the early 90s.
Nobody can be that stupid, and still exist.
I beg to differ.
I've never known anybody quite that out of it. I
don't know. Some of the stories I've seen online, there are some.
And to be that success, and I don't know, it just was a little rough. And not only that. I mean, Peg didn't do any work around the house. The house was always clean. I mean, they overdid everything. That's what we know.
So,
except for when they were scrounging for toaster leave-ins.
For food.
Exactly.
We got some business to take care of.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're almost halfway through the show. I haven't taken care of business yet. Let's do that.
Intern to bring back order to the show.
The sky is falling. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Get it right now. It's the WWE Network. The best thing since anything.
Lucas, you're never allowed to call me Michael Cole again, because that just out-trumped any Coleism that I've ever done.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon Derry.
And you're scowling at me because you know I'm right. And, of course, this is the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio, Pro Wrestling Weekly, here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you alongside Lucas the Intern, chomping at the bit to get at the microphone. Go ahead.
As much as I hate it, it's grown on me, so I also love it. It's like one of those It's like a I don't know, a double turn, I guess you could say.
Give it time. It'll
grow
like,
on you.
Yeah, kind of like Bo leaving.
No Bo leaving.
Like a fungus.
In fact, the fact that he's in the Battle Royal, and I probably think, considering they want to keep that thing, we'll get to it with the predictions. I just want to say, if he gets eliminated, the first thing I will tweet will be, guess he didn't Bo leave hard enough. Because the only way I will ever say Bo leaving is when I'm slagging on him. That's the only way.
Of course. And Nick Cataldi is here as well, though he stepped out for a second to get a sip of water. This discussion has...
parched him.
Yeah, has parched him a little bit, so he's going to go quench his thirst. Now, I did look it up over the break, and... I don't know. The kind of origin of X-Pac heat is kind of a difficult thing to pin down, although on a forum here, somebody he said Edge put it best back in 2001. He said, 1998 called, and they're sick and tired of you, so feel free to join us in the year 2001 anytime you want. That is kind of why people just... At that point, DX had dissolved. He was still going out there with the black and green and the crotch chop and the whole...
wagging the tongue. It was just bad.
It kind of he overstayed his welcome with the whole DX thing, the same way that in WCW the NWO overstayed its welcome going into 99, 2000, when it started in 96 and was this hot thing.
And when it had like too many people, just like where you had literally the ring was filled where it had to be people standing on the outside, was just bad.
Because you were either in or you were out. And everybody wanted to be in on the cool thing, and then it became so cool that it wasn't cool anymore.
Yeah, but it was just like...
Interesting.
But I realized for a fact that... What's the beeping?
Oh, it's a backup battery. No, you're okay. No worries, you're fine.
Okay, so it's just like the fact that Goldberg, and I think I brought this up before. I know I have. Goldberg is the only enemy of the NWO that never joined. I mean, Sting joined at one point. DDP, I don't actually did DDP. I think DDP joined.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. So it was Goldberg and DDP, but it was like you had Sting joining, you had Flair joining at one point. Like, I remember Flair.
I don't remember Flair in the NWO.
I thought he was
at that point he was getting buried by Bischoff because he and Bischoff couldn't stand each other. I feel like I really feel like though there was at least an alliance. You had too many people. As much as I loved the NWO Wolfpack, when they split off into the two factions within a faction, that was where I thought it was when it was done. When you had the NWO Black and White or Hollywood, and then you had the NWO Red and Black, the Wolfpack. That was when it was a bit much. And
then it really started to go when the finger poke of doom was just like...
Well, are we talking the NWO or are we just talking WCW in general? Because that...
Both.
Yeah, that... In fact, I'll give a little plug to my friends over at WrestleCrap.com. They're putting out a new book, I believe R.D. Reynolds is, an updated The Death of WCW book. And I'm sure there are a lot more interviews, a lot more insight now that...
I think, you know what the good thing was? It was the fact, though, that even though WCW was at its worst... That was when you really saw the shining stars, though. When you saw Booker T, and DDP, when those guys, you'd see that they had talent because nobody else did.
Well, it was more that for years they were being held down by the guys that were being brought in
like
as...
Savage and Hogan, and they brought all their buddies, and nobody else was getting a shot. Like, if they hadn't been there, I think Jericho would have been more of a WCW guy, and he wouldn't have left.
Well, there were a lot of those guys that had that mass exodus guys like X-Pac and Jeff Jarrett jumped back and forth quite a bit during the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah. But
that's why Jericho left in 99. That's why you saw Guerrero, Benoit, Malenko.
Mysterio,
yeah. Well, Mysterio he never came over until after WCW was bought out.
Really?
And he actually... And this is something a lot of people kind of give heat for guys who sat out their Time Warner contracts and collected a paycheck. Ray was one of them because he didn't come in until 2002.
Oh, yeah.
So, they had an option of either, coming in right away and working, and a couple of guys like Booker T and Diamond Dallas Page did.
Who because they loved
But guys like Goldberg and Flair and Rey Mysterio just sat out their contract. And
that's just like, you sort of have to lose a bit of respect.
But Ray never gets any crap for that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, he's Rey Mysterio. He's awesome.
Not anymore.
Why am I drawing a blank on Saturn? That was the other one who jumped over as the Four Radicals back in early 2000.
Yeah.
I was like, it's like naming the dwarves. You always seem to forget one. It's like Guerrero, Benoit, Malenko. Oh yeah, Saturn. He was in there too.
So they all came.
So they all jumped over to from WCW to the WWF at the same time in early January of 2000.
Yeah.
Or I guess mid-January 2000. It was right around the WCW sold-out pay-per-view where Benoit won the WCW World title, and then the next night jumped over to Raw.
Yeah.
I think trying to give him the title was like this, please stay with us, and he was just like, no,
Wait.
I don't think it exactly went down like that, but
They gave who the title? I'm sorry.
Benoit.
Benoit. They gave him the
WCW World Heavyweight title.
And they had to come over the next night and be like, oh, hey, guys.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to keep him in the fold. He was just, by that point, he was disillusioned. He was tired of people like Hogan and Kevin Nash calling him and the others vanilla midgets, referring to the fact that they weren't 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", and didn't have any
That's the sad thing.
personality.
It's like Kevin Nash, he doesn't like the little wrestlers, yet his best friend is X-Pac.
Well, yeah, there's a bit of but X-Pac was never exactly a main event guy. He was always there, but you weren't exactly going to see X-Pac challenging for the world title.
Yeah, true. But you did have, at the same time, I wouldn't say he was a main eventer, but he had a couple of sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, am I boring you?
No. There's always room for a yawn, I guess. But
just like in TNA.
Yeah. But X-Pac had a little bit, I would say a little bit of a major storyline in the Attitude Era with whole thing with at WrestleMania you had Shane McMahon versus X-Pac, and then you also had you had the Triple H versus X-Pac, and it they're trying to give him a bit of a push, but it didn't exactly work.
Well, I mean, he was at that point he was feuding for the European title with the owner's son.
Yeah.
Back when Shane O'Mac was doing his whole dancing thing. That was certainly interesting. So I completely got away from the whole Sting thing before the break because we go on tangents. That's kind of what we do here. So along with him being part of the game, WWE already selling Sting merchandise. They're selling Sting T-shirts on the WWE website, but he's not officially signed with WWE. This is all just part of the video game promotion. But he told TMZ this week that he wants to wrestle for WWE. He said he hasn't yet signed a contract with WWE, but he indicated that he wants to work out a deal and face The Undertaker at WrestleMania 31.
Yeah, but at the same time, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see The Undertaker wrestle again, but I got to give a shout out to your friend Brett again, because remember we were talking to Money in the Bank. He just didn't show up to that WrestleMania. He really, mentally, he wasn't there.
To Undertaker just checked out?
Yeah.
Well, Sting seems to be more, I mean, we haven't heard anything from Undertaker one way or another, but Sting, I mean, he said, at my age, it's now or never. The wave is coming into the shore.
Yeah.
To give you an idea, by the time WrestleMania 31 would occur, since both of their birthdays happen to be in March, Sting will have just turned 56.
Wait, he's been wrestling over...
Yeah, Sting started, to give you an idea, Sting started back, I want to say it was the UWF as part of the Blade Runners. It was him and who would eventually become the Ultimate Warrior as a tag team, and that was 85. That was almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So, he's been around that long. And The Undertaker, meanwhile, will have just turned the big 5-0.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. As legendary as they are, it's kind of like, it's not as bad as 3 years ago when in TNA you had Hogan and Flair when Hogan was when Hogan was in his late 50s and Flair was in his early 60s. It's not that bad, but
it's bad.
It's not that great either.
I feel like once you retire from WWE, it doesn't mean you go over to TNA. That's what most of the guys have, but it wasn't Ric Flair's was an official retirement, I feel like, and then he goes over to TNA, and...
Yeah, I was going to say, if that was the case, then does that mean that soon we'll be seeing the Soulosaurus as opposed to the Funkasaurus, Brodus Clay?
Maybe. Why, was he in TNA at one point, or...?
No, I'm just saying because they like to pull guys from WWE and kind of semi-borrow their game. So instead of the Funkasaurus, he could be the Soul-asaurus.
Yeah. You know what the sad thing is? Like,
that's horrible, and they'll probably use it.
You know what the sad thing is, though? Well, it's TNA. What do you expect? But it's sad is, like, Flair's one of those guys who, he wasn't even with WWE as long as he was with WCW.
Oh, yeah, no, that's where he made his bones. Jim Crockett Promotions and the NWA and WCW. He was in the WWF for, about a year and a half in the early 90s and then went back over to WCW for the rest of the 90s.
And then he comes over in 2002 and but at the same time, he was so much of a big thing that Vince McMahon, loves the guy either way. Even if he was with WCW, even went over to TNA, and I don't think he ever got crap for it.
Well, part of it was his personal financial issues, and I think everybody kind of knew, all right, he by that point had 3 or 4 divorces or 3 or 4 ex-wives that he had to pay, so he had to get some coin together, to say the least. Plus to continue his limousine riding, jet flying, all that nonsense.
Styling and profiling.
Yeah, I'd go through the rest of the bit, but we'd pretty much end the show. Anyway, Vince McMahon chiming in on the whole Sting signing potential via Twitter. He asked whether Sting being in the game would lead to him being an actual WWE ring when he tweeted, WWE 2K15 at Sting. Does art imitate life? And he just kind of left it at that. So who knows?
It's one of those poetic, but not really answering the question.
No, he's throwing out there a tease, I guess. See what people, throwing out a litmus test, seeing what people think about it. I don't know. We'll certainly see here. Another bit of news. Well, we'll get into it now. Your, I guess, former boy, CM Punk. Yeah, he has moved to the webpage alumni section this week.
Oh, big deal.
Yeah, WWE has moved CM Punk to the alumni section of their website roster page. He was listed as active despite not being in a WWE ring since the Royal Rumble back in January. And his contract with WWE was expected to expire sometime this week. On the same day as the shift to the alumni section, Punk issued the following tweet. Nope, thank you. Thanks for all the help and support through the years. Health and happiness above all. Don't ever take any bleep from anybody. So that's, I guess, his way of acknowledging, all right, the ride with WWE, at least for now, has ended for CM Punk.
Yeah.
And, Lucas, you've already expressed your opinion more often than not, and since we don't want to use the dump button, we're not going to go back there.
No, I can keep it clean. Punk, thank you for all the pipe bombs, the ice cream bars, the...
Wait, you actually got ice cream bars?
No.
Oh.
Just the fact that the T-shirts, the countless times you've been in the ring, love him or hate him, Raw isn't the same without him, and it's the fact that Punk, right now, you're not on my good side, but I have to admit, I respect the heck out of you. For as much as I don't like you right now, I'm gonna miss you. It's like a mutual, Wes Mantooth, Ron Burgundy sort of relationship. And I'm plugging Anchorman again. I had to.
It's stuck in your head, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness. All right. Why don't we, we'll take care of our second time out because I know we're slowly late for that. And then we'll get to the phones on the other side. And, we'll get our predictions certain to go wrong for Battleground as well. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, July 19. On this date in 1993, WWF Monday Night Raw aired live from New York City. In the main event, Shawn Michaels pinned Marty Jannetty. On this date in 1997, ECW held its Heatwave 97 Supercard. In the main event, Jerry Lawler, Rob Van Dam, and Sabu fought Ravishing Rick Rude, The Sandman, and Tommy Dreamer to a no contest. On this date in 1999, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Rockford, Illinois. In the main event, Hulk Hogan defeated Sid Vicious by disqualification. On this date in 2009, TNA held its Victory Road pay-per-view. In the main event, Kurt Angle defeated Mick Foley to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This has been Today in Wrestling History, July 19. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you alongside Lucas the Intern and Nick Cataldi.
Yay!
An exasperated sigh from Lucas. It's about all I can. I seem to do that. I just wear down on him like an Iron Man match over the course of the hour.
And then this later on tonight, you want to go through there's definitely an Iron Man of sorts, not an Iron Man match, but we're definitely gonna.
You have to put up with me for a few more hours as we'll be down at the Monster Factory tonight.
We're gonna have at least two superstars who are gonna have to endure 2 matches to get what they want. You want to tell us about that, Fearon?
I will very quickly. Yes, the Monster Factory action returning to Paulsboro, New Jersey tonight. Doors opening at 6. The action starts at 7. Tickets only $20, just $10 for kids 12 and under. So a 6-man tag team match of the Militia, consisting of War, Major McClendon, and Brutal Joe Gibson, against the Monster Atu, Luis the Punisher Martinez, and Good News Hughes.
Wait, what happened?
Little bit of a switch. I believe there was an injury, but I can't confirm that. If Martinez and company win, then Hughes will battle McClendon for the Supersonic title in singles action later that night, and Luis Martinez will vie for Gibson's heavyweight championship also later that night. Now, if the Militia win the 6-man tag, Hughes and Martinez will no longer be able to wrestle for any championships held by the Militia. Also, one half of the Monster Factory Tag Team Champion AC Rock, Mark Cruz, had to step away from pro wrestling for personal reasons. Therefore, his partner Shaheem Ali will defend the tag titles by himself against the Factory's finest, Mike Spanos and Clutch Adams. And there's so much more action. There's going to be a Supersonic Scramble for a title shot at the next Monster Factory show next month, including, well, both of our boys, Francis Kip Stevens from Straight Outta Compton. He'll be in the house. Hopefully he'll win that.
Kip Kensington, nerd hunting season will not be happening this time.
Oh, there you go.
I hate you.
And also, if you purchase a ticket for the show tonight, you can then return to the Monster Factory tomorrow night, July 20th, to watch WWE Battleground for free with some of your favorite Monster Factory wrestlers. So check it all out tonight, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, and you can also get more information at monsterfactory.org. All right, so much to do and only 8 minutes to do it in. Let's get to Howard, who's been hanging on. Howard, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Hi, Fearon. A long time, first time. I'm a big fan of your show. I love your YouTube channel, and you're just full of, knowledgeable information, and I just freaking love it.
Thank you very much, Howard. The check's in the mail. No.
Oh, yes. I get money for this? Now,
somebody has to, because I sure don't. No.
Like I said, I subscribe to your YouTube channel, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
I appreciate it.
The channel that I have, and my friends and I, we do backyard wrestling. We have badass Jim Burnett, and we have Dave the Quarter Jew Norkowitz.
Oh, dear.
He is just awesome. He's going to be like a WWE superstar one day. We have Dealmaker Riley versus Parabanger Kenny coming up. If you get a chance, you got to check out Backyard Bonanza. We have a YouTube channel, a web page, and a Twitch TV page.
Are you guys looking for any new talent exactly?
Oh, gosh. We've got the budding young intern looking to get in on the fray.
We always have new talent. Look, if you can throw down, I mean, you sound like you're pretty bad back there. If you're dealing with Fearon all day, you are a pretty bad dude. I'm telling you that right now. Now, let's get back to some real wrestling for a minute. Now, let's pretend John Cena is a real person. Who wins, John Cena or Batman?
Wait, what?
John Cena or Batman?
Oh, Batman, definitely.
In a throwdown.
Batman, definitely.
See, you're in.
Which Batman?
Look, hit me up.
Yeah. It depends which Batman, because if it's George Clooney, then Cena's going to win.
Which Batman? Adam West. I pick Adam West.
No, if it's George Clooney, then Cena might actually win.
No, we're talking Christian Bale.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, Bale wins. Oh.
See, you hit me up on YouTube. I will get you in a wrestling match.
Yes.
You can probably take on Man Boob Chowder.
What? Wait, what? Hold on a second. Oh, hold on a second.
What direction is this show gone?
Yeah. What? Man Boobs Chowder?
If you trust me, if you saw this guy, he reminds me of Rikishi.
That's even worse. I don't want to face a guy in a G-string. I don't want to face a guy.
He's a little bit older than Rikishi, and he's got like the biggest set of man boobs you're ever going to see. But trust me, he can use them as a lethal weapon.
Oh, wow.
What?
That's some kind of something there.
Yeah, that's
All right, Howard, thanks so much for the call. We got to get to our predictions starting to go wrong for Battleground. I don't know. You know, we're just gonna let that chowder digest and make our way over to the predictions here. All right, so you've got the kickoff match. The Funkadactyls explode, or something like that. Cameron against Naomi.
Cameron.
Yeah, that's right. I shouldn't do a whole lot of build-up because we only have about 5 minutes here.
No, you can build up. I'm just going to tell you, it's Cameron.
Okay, Cameron's winning that one. All right. AJ Lee will stick with the ladies, defending the Divas title against Paige. I'm going with AJ Lee.
I'm going with AJ too, but it's the fact
you're torn because they're both your crushes.
But one's already married, so.
So you're going with the married woman?
No, I'm not going.
Devil, you.
I'm not going with the married. It's just the fact that it's because AJ's going to win, but I know it's going to be a good match either way. I know this. These are two girls on the roster, like along with Natty, like those three can really wrestle. And I'm also excited for Charlotte Flair when she gets up to the main roster because we're going to have like these girls can actually wrestle, and it's not just glitter and
These certainly ain't your glow wrestlers of back in the day, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. In a battle of pure patriotism not seen since Nikolai Volkov and Corporal Kirshner. Okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Jack Swagger against Rusev.
I'm going to say this is the one, though, that could go either way. Really, it could.
Yeah, I was torn on this.
And I'm going to have to say, we the people believe that Jack Swagger will win at Battleground. And if not, then he'll win at SummerSlam at the rematch.
Look at that, a little advanced booking. In a similar fashion, I'm thinking that there's going to be a rematch at SummerSlam, but I think in this case, Rusev either crush with help from Lana.
Well.
Or maybe Moose and Squirrel. I don't know. Dean Ambrose against Seth Rollins. Just moving past that quickly. Oh. The blood feud.
I'm going to say Rollins.
Of WWE.
I could easily say, though, that I'd love to see another rematch at SummerSlam, but I'm going to say Rollins right now.
I can only imagine the stakes. This is going to continue, and I think Rollins gets the upper hand here, and Ambrose continues to chase, and it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a Pier 6 brawl, I guess you could say.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho against Bray Wyatt.
I'm going to have to... Wyatt. What are we talking... It's Wyatt. It's going to win.
Yeah, I'm following the buzzards on this one, too. All right, so we're only differing on one so far, but we've got 3 more matches to go here. Oh, gosh. The tag titles, we'll get that out of the way. The Usos defending against the Wyatts in one of my favorites, a best 2 out of 3 falls match.
Oh, it's got to be the Wyatts. I mean, the Usos won last time. Give the Wyatts the titles. If any time, it would be now or SummerSlam.
And I'm thinking SummerSlam, so the Usos retain, possibly by disqualification, something like that. Some sort of chicanery where they lose the match but keep the belts. The Intercontinental title Battle Royal, since Bad News Barrett's out of it. I'd go through all the names, but there's 20 names, and we're short on time. I think Cesaro will likely win, but I've got either Sheamus or Bo Dallas as dark horse picks. And I figure since there's 20 guys in it, we'll allow 3 different options here, because why the heck not?
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I'm going to say Cesaro as well. My dark horses are one's a bit different. Unfortunately, as much as I hate the guy, I have to say Bo Dallas, he's my one of my dark horse picks. That was bad.
Freudian slip, okay. And the other?
Dolph Ziggler. Give him a push.
The show-off, okay.
Give him the titles. Everybody's cheering for Ziggler. It's another... just give him the titles, please.
Well, we'll see. And speaking of titles, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, John Cena defending against Randy Orton, Kane, and Roman Reigns in a fatal 4-way.
I want Reigns to win, but it's going to be Cena.
Cena wins.
And I want
exactly.
to see, though, I really want to hear either the next night on Raw or right after the match, dun, dun 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 dun. Plan C comes out. You could definitely see that's where it's going.
Brock Lesnar.
You can definitely see where that's
going
because it's because Paul Heyman showed up and I don't know. That's definitely got to be something. We're not going to give Cesaro a shot at the world title already.
Yeah, we'll see where that's going on. Okay, real quick, The Rock wanting another match. I teased it earlier. He told ESPN this past Tuesday to promote his Hercules movie that he'd like to have another match, possibly WrestleMania 31. He'd have to get with Vince and see what makes sense. If he was to wrestle at Mania 31, it'd be 6 weeks before his 43rd birthday and 2 years removed from his most recent match where he tore his abdominal muscle against Cena at WrestleMania 29. And real quick, birthdays. 1958, Robert Gibson, one half of the famous tag team, the Rock and Roll Express, turns 56 today. From 1977, former ECW tag champion and member of the Full-Blooded Italians, Tony Mamaluke, turns 37. From 1986, recently released WWE superstar Jinder Mahal of 3MB turns 28 today. And just for your comedy fix, from 1961, insult comedian Lisa Lampanelli turns 53.
Oh, you made me think it was Jim Norton, not the Queen. As much as I love the Queen of Mean.
And from 1968, comedian and longtime sidekick to the Opie and Anthony Show, Jim Norton, turns 46 today. Happy birthday, little Jimmy Norton.
John and I are
not to be confused with R-Truth's little Jimmy. Although I wonder if they were one. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think anybody. Well, people want to hear country music, and they want to hear it from Nick Cataldi, and that's coming up next.
Huh?
As opposed to yay? Okay, apparently Nick is indifferent about it, but
I am not. It's having fun.
No selling the daylights out of it. All right, we're late for news here. Let's go ahead and square that away. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills.